Have you ever wondered how you can increase the reach of your academic research and engage a broader audience? Today, I'm going to tell you about the book that helped me develop a new approach to my academic work. And I'll give you 3 tips based on the book and how I applied them in my work. Welcome to Coffee with Dr. A. My name is Dr. Abdullah Albarani, Associate Professor of Economics at Northern Kentucky University and the Director for the Center for Economic Education. I work at the intersection of academia, business, policymaking, and with administrators. I've read great research that is important but fails to reach the people that most need to hear about it. Today, we'll talk about a resource that has helped me expand my audience. Grab a cup of coffee and let's talk about how to increase awareness of your academic work. It's been 12 months since I read this book and has changed the way I look at my career. If you're an academic, researcher at a public or private institution, then research is a big part of what you do. And it is part of your identity. Often, I hear researchers complain about how their research is read by few, and it's mostly other researchers. Given how much research matters to us, how can we get our finding out to as many people as possible? This book teaches you a tangible way on how to do that. I hate to say it, but our academic training rarely covers how to best market your research and how to build your brand. Some academics might cringe just hearing that sentence. We're taught to avoid language like marketing or branding. It's because most research is considered part of the public domain. So thinking of our work in a commercial sense is difficult to us. However, academic citations are important for us to establish a signal of our expertise in our field. And one of our main goals is having our research influence decisions. Our usual opportunities to increase exposure for our research are presenting at conferences to get feedback, presenting at seminars by leveraging networks, and then possibly sharing a link to the article on a personal platform when it's published. That's about it. This approach to research relies on others finding your work. Then, if and when they find it, they need to be comfortable with academic writing. Few papers become popular with the general audience, and when they do, it's because some journalists took the time to learn about it and share it. When I started my career, I was told by a mentor that I needed to tell the world what I was doing. Otherwise, no one would invest in learning about my work. Great advice, but at that time I was not sure how to actually execute on telling the world about what I do. I experimented with some approaches, some worked, and others didn't. Last year I read a book that I wish I had read 10 years back. It would have helped me get my career started. The book is Elevate the Debate. I'll link to it in the description below. The book is a collection of tips that help you reach more people with your research. It is edited by Jonathan Schwabish. These tips are based on a series of workshops developed at the Urban Institute. This is not an ad, but if anyone affiliated with the book is watching, thank you for writing this book. I don't want to go through the book in detail because I think it's important that you read it. I'll discuss some of the tips that I took from it and how I applied them to my career over the past year. Tip 1. Use social media to build audiences that matter. My most cited paper, which I never thought it would be when writing it, is on how educators can use social media to increase student engagement. When I talk to graduate students in workshops or seminars, I always give them a pitch for why they should join Twitter. Social media can be a powerful tool to share your expertise. For years when I was on Twitter and then on Instagram, recently I've expanded to YouTube and it has already paid off. I use these 3 platforms in very different ways, and I would love to connect with more followers and subscribers, but the ones I have are committed to the content that I provide. I've had co-author opportunities, consulting opportunities, and I've had traditional media reach out to learn more. Last year was actually my highest citation year on Google Scholar. Causation or correlation? I don't know. Either way, I can't deny the major role social media has had in building and engaging my readership and viewership. Tip number 2, work with media to increase your impact. Speaking of working with traditional media, the book has several tips on how to connect and make the most out of your connections with the media. One thing that has helped me is working closely with my institution's marketing and communications department. They usually get the first request from the media, and the more they know about your research and your work, the more likely they can refer to you when applicable. At most universities, marketing and communication departments exist at the institution and college level. They're often looking for content to share and can work with you on how to best reframe your work so that it reaches their audience. Reach out to them and tell them about your work. I've learned a lot from working with them. They have given me feedback on when to reformat my work for different audiences and how to adjust my language to reach more people. Communicating to diverse audiences is a skill that we need to learn. Tip 3, present better, speak more effectively. One of the personal goals that I have developed from reading this book is to break away from traditional academic presentations. My approach has always been non-traditional, but this book gave me the confidence to break away from tradition. Coupled with more presentations moving online, it has encouraged me to invest in more visually engaging presentations. I also welcomed more invitations from non-academic venues. Talking to local policymakers, the business community, or administrators requires a shift in speaking style. It isn't easy. We spend so much time learning how to speak as academics, and as soon as you get comfortable with that, you realize that our speaking is not effective for larger and more diverse audiences. I was recently presenting at a non-academic forum, and one of the attendees put in a request before I started talking to make sure I don't unnecessarily complicate things. One of my team members gave me some feedback on my YouTube channel saying that I was sounding more academic than I should. The language we use is important, and if it doesn't reach the people that need to hear it, then it won't be effective. Communicating clearly requires you to be aware of your surroundings. Be a chameleon and adjust with your surroundings. My question for you today is there a book that changed your outlook or helped your career development? Leave a link to it in the comments. I'd love for us to share our resources and build a strong community of shared knowledge. I hope these tips have energized you to read Elevate the Debate. Thanks for joining me today and for being part of the community. See you next week on Coffee with Dr. A.